Michael Jackson's Thriller is a pop culture phenomenon that revolutionized music videos forever. But did you know there was a forgotten sequel? Today, we're uncovering the crazy story behind Ghosts, the follow-up to Thriller that took everything to the next level, blending horror, music, and personal reflection in ways no one expected. From big Hollywood collaborations to the deep, symbolic meaning behind every scene, this is the untold tale of the crazy story behind Michael Jackson's forgotten Thriller sequel. If you're a fan of Michael's genius, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a beat. After Michael Jackson's wildly successful album Thriller was knocked from its spot on the Billboard 200 chart 8 months post-release, his manager proposed creating a music video for the album's title track. Inspired by John Landis' film An American Werewolf in London, Jackson approached the director with a request to collaborate on the project. Landis agreed, on the condition that it would be crafted as a short film rather than a conventional music video, an idea Michael enthusiastically supported. At the time, typical music video budgets ranged between $20,000 and $50,000. But for Thriller, they needed a whopping $500,000. While initially struggling to secure the funds, they cleverly raised the money by selling the rights to a behind-the-scenes documentary to various television networks. This documentary, following the overwhelming success of the music video, not only became a major hit, but also pioneered a format that went on to sell over 10 million copies. Thus, the journey of Thriller, the first music video to ever be inducted into the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress for its cultural, historical, and aesthetic significance, began. It broke barriers in the pop music world, cementing Jackson as the king of pop and revolutionizing music videos as an art form. It also paved the way for greater diversity on platforms like MTV, which had previously limited its airing of black artists. A key component of Thriller's monumental success was Jackson's vision that transcended typical music video making. He didn't see these projects as mere videos. He saw them as short films. "I don't even allow people to say the word video," Jackson stated. "It's taboo around here. We say it's a short film." This approach defined his future projects. Determined to work with the best, Jackson recruited acclaimed directors like Martin Scorsese, Spike Lee, David Fincher, and John Singleton for his visual works. He also collaborated with a range of entertainment legends, featuring actors such as Eddie Murphy, Marlon Brando, Macaulay Culkin, and Chris Tucker, as well as athletes like Michael Jordan. At the height of his fame, however, Jackson found himself under the intense microscope of the media, a scrutiny he openly resisted with just 3 words. In one notable instance, Jackson addressed the media's obsession with his life through a series of symbolic, stop-motion visuals, turning the media's distorted stories into a surreal spectacle. The music video in question took 9 months to create and featured imaginative references to the many outlandish rumors surrounding Jackson at the time. These rumors included allegations that Jackson slept in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber to delay aging, a myth that emerged after a photo of him inside the chamber leaked following a hospital visit. Another tabloid claim focused on Jackson's relationship with his pet chimpanzee, Bubbles, as a sign of his supposed growing detachment from reality. One of the most persistent rumors was that Jackson had offered to buy the bones of Joseph Merrick, the so-called Elephant Man, a 19th century figure who suffered from severe physical deformities. In response to this last rumor, Jackson laughed it off, remarking, "That's a complete lie. Where am I going to put bones? And why would I even want to buy them?" Jackson saw a connection between Merrick's story and his own, empathizing deeply with the challenges Merrick faced. This emotional connection was later visually represented in one of Jackson's music videos, in which he humorously danced among bones meant to symbolize those of the Elephant Man. This symbolic imagery would resonate even more deeply years later. In 1997, exactly a decade after the release of Ghosts, Jackson included one of his darkest tracks, Morphine, on his remix album Blood on the Dance Floor, History in the Mix. The song, which reflected on his struggles with painkiller addiction, featured an audio clip from David Lynch's film The Elephant Man, further drawing parallels between Jackson and Merrick. In the sampled scene, Joseph Merrick hesitates to follow the new doctor's instructions, fearing exploitation after years of being treated as a spectacle. This fear mirrors Michael Jackson's own feelings, as he too believed his life had become a circus-like exhibition for public consumption. Like Merrick, Jackson felt a deep distrust for those who treated him more like an oddity than a person. These experiences fueled the derogatory nickname, Wacko Jacko, that tabloids pushed relentlessly. You shouldn't call him an animal. You shouldn't call him Jacko. I'm not Jacko. I'm Jackson, he famously stated in frustration. When asked how it felt to be called Wacko Jacko, he responded, "It came from some English tabloid. I have a heart and feelings. When you call me that, it hurts. I'm not a wacko." To symbolize his resentment toward the media for treating him as an outsider, one of his music videos depicts an amusement park built entirely around Jackson himself. In a powerful moment, he breaks free from it all, tearing down the park in a symbolic rejection of how he had been portrayed. In 1993, Michael Jackson was brought on by Paramount Pictures to create a horror-themed song for Addams Family Values, along with a short promotional film. The project was called Is This Scary?, a 12 to 15-minute musical horror short film. Jackson contacted the famed horror author Stephen King to write the film based on Jackson's own idea, and King was intrigued, having never written a musical before. King said, "I was known as the master of horror," and Michael said, "I want you to help me make the scariest video ever." The story follows a character called the Maestro, who lives in an old mansion overlooking the suburban town of Normal Valley. The name alone suggests where the narrative is headed. The town's mayor despises the Maestro's spooky yet harmless magic and rallies a mob to drive him away, even though the local kids adore him. The mayor's accusation, "You don't belong here. You're weird and we want you gone." In response, the Maestro challenges them with a simple question, "Why must I be like you?" His confrontation with the mayor reflects a sentiment Jackson himself shared, that being different or weird doesn't make someone bad. In fact, it's the people who fear uniqueness who fall into a herd mentality, demonizing what they don't understand. During the filming, Jackson wanted the actors playing the mob to insult him with real venom. Actor Troy Evans recalled that despite their attempts to hurl harsh insults, Jackson wasn't fully satisfied. They did take after take until, during the 57th take, Evans shouted, "You freak, stay away from my son." Still, the director told him to ramp up the intensity. The exact insult that finally triggered an emotional response from Jackson remains unknown, but his reaction to the deeply personal taunting was intense. The whole scene felt like a metaphorical confrontation with the real-world torment Jackson endured from the media, those who mocked and misunderstood him for being different. The parallels between the Maestro's story and Jackson's life couldn't be clearer, but the production of Is This Scary? Was cut short when child abuse allegations against Jackson emerged. The legal battles that followed, including invasive searches and accusations, tarnished Jackson's image irreparably. Although this piece isn't about the allegations themselves, it's worth noting some key details. The Santa Barbara District Attorney, Tom Sneddon, played a prominent role in prosecuting Jackson. At one point, a search warrant was executed to take intimate photographs of Jackson, which he later described as the most humiliating experience of his life. Despite Jackson's public denial of any wrongdoing, the media's frenzy and the legal proceedings deeply scarred his public image. The scandal overshadowed his involvement with Addams Family Values, and though Paramount dropped Jackson's song and film from the movie, they still included a sly reference to him as a joke. His artistic vision, however, lived on through Ghosts and other works, where Jackson continued to battle against the misconceptions and rumors that had dogged him throughout his life. Michael Jackson's 1995 album History is still regarded as one of his most personal works, with many of the new tracks directly confronting the allegations, his turbulent relationship with the media, and other darker themes. This album marked a shift in his sound, featuring a more aggressive, rock-inspired tone, which was evident in the lead single Scream, a collaboration with his sister Janet. In a rare moment for Jackson, the song includes an F-bomb directed at the media, a powerful statement from an artist usually known for his cleaner language. Notably, profanity also made its way into several other tracks on the album, such as the hard-hitting This Time Around, where Jackson confronts a father of the family that had accused him in 1993, accusing him of extortion. Even rapper Biggie Smalls made a guest appearance. One of the most intriguing songs on the album is DS, the only diss track in Jackson's career, aimed squarely at District Attorney Tom Sneddon, the man leading the case against him. The lyrics don't hold back. Jackson alludes to Sneddon being aligned with groups like the KKK, questions his upbringing, and even suggests he might be working with agencies like the FBI or CIA. The song closes with a fire weapon sound, a symbolic punctuation to an intense musical statement. If there was any doubt who the target was, Jackson made it clear by repeating Sneddon's initials in the chorus. Now that you have the full context, let's dive into Ghosts. In Mike Smallcomb's book Making Michael, inside the career of Michael Jackson, it's revealed that finishing Ghosts became incredibly important to Jackson after the events of 1993 derailed the original production. Despite his label's concerns that the project served little purpose, Jackson pressed forward, and given the circumstances, it's easy to see why. Sean Amangatow, one of the few cast members to return from Is This Scary, noted the uncanny parallels between Jackson's life and the storyline of the film. It was the most amazing case of life imitating art, she said, reflecting on how real-life events began to mirror the film's plot. There were several notable changes from the original Is This Scary version. In the cut of Ghosts, the mayor, originally played by actor Ken Jenkins, was now portrayed by Jackson himself. One of the new director's stipulations was that Michael play multiple roles, including the mayor, a character with a striking resemblance to a certain district attorney. Jackson described his portrayal of the mayor as grotesque and ridiculous, saying, "People like that are so stubborn. They fail to see the beauty within." Many other aspects of the film were shuffled around. Original director Mick Garris, a frequent collaborator of Stephen King, co-wrote the story and screenplay but couldn't return due to his commitments to the Shining miniseries. In his place, special effects master Stan Winston, the genius behind Jurassic Park, The Terminator, and The Thing, stepped in to direct. The film opens with the mob approaching the maestro's mansion, torches in hand, presented in black and white. Once they enter the dilapidated mansion, the film switches to color, much like the transition in The Wizard of Oz, symbolizing the magical and vibrant world the maestro brings to life. The transition from black and white to color emphasizes the contrast between the mundane reality of the townspeople and the extraordinary world within the maestro's mansion. Spielberg-esque shots of the children marveling at their surroundings drive this point home. One subtle change in the film involves the group of children featured in the plot. In Is This Scary?, the group was a mix of boys and girls. In Ghosts, however, the children are all boys, likely a reflection of Jackson's personal life at the time. Their dialogue, though seemingly simple, is loaded with subtext. "Why don't we just leave him alone? He hasn't hurt anyone," one of the boys says, echoing the sentiment of Jackson's supporters. Meanwhile, the mob, led by the mayor, continues to insist on driving out the maestro simply for being different. The film reaches a pivotal moment when the maestro challenges the mayor to a deal. The first to get scared must leave. Jackson's character begins pulling exaggerated, funny faces, asking, "Do you think this is scary?" The mayor dismisses it as absurd, but the tension escalates, leading to a thrilling climax as the mob attempts to flee. After Michael Jackson shuts the doors in Ghosts, an interesting distinction from Is This Scary? Emerges. In the earlier version, Jackson's demeanor after closing the door was far more menacing, whereas in Ghosts, he adopts a much friendlier tone. "No, you can't leave. You're my guest. It's too late now. You're my guest," he says, adding a sense of invitation rather than threat. Then, with the line, "Meet the family." No, not the Addams family. We dive into a thrilling dance routine. In this sequence, Jackson rips off his skin, an act that feels like a symbolic gesture, as if he's offering himself up for the closest scrutiny possible, as though there's nothing left for him to conceal. What follows is an iconic moment, Jackson moonwalking as a CGI skeleton while the song, Is It Scary, plays. The question he seems to pose is the same one he directs toward the media, the audience, and the mob. Who's really scary here? This scene neatly encapsulates the film's central theme. Jackson, dressed in a motion capture suit, also plays the skeleton, who pulls the mayor onto the dance floor where the other ghouls trap him. Then, the skeleton transforms into the Super Ghoul, a name given to this creature in the credits. And yes, it's Michael playing that role too. the super ghoul forces the mayor to dance, and the transformation begins. The mayor, now an unattractive ghoul, mirrors the inner ugliness of his values and attitudes. It's a sharp reflection on who the true freak is in this situation. The haunting taunts echo. Who's scary now? Who's the freak now? After the mayor expels the ghost possessing him, reverting to his normal self, Michael, in a dramatic gesture, agrees to leave. The children, who have grown fond of him, beg him to stay, but Jackson slowly dissolves into dust, his face fading away. A visual metaphor for the loss of his public image, a theme that resonates deeply with the lyrics of Stranger in Moscow, where he mourns his sudden fall from grace. In the original version of Is This Scary?, a similar scene unfolds, but with one notable difference. The children rebuild Jackson after his dramatic exit, reassuring him that it was all just pretend. Just fun, they say. And then Jackson vanishes. In that version, after the mob departs, they encounter the Addams Family characters like Wednesday and Pugsley, as the film was meant to tie in with the franchise. However, the final cut of Ghosts has a much more conclusive ending. The mayor's fate is sealed when, as the mob attempts to leave, the super ghoul plays one last prank. As the mayor opens a door, a massive head materializes, scaring him so badly that he leaps through a window and disappears. Jackson reveals that he was merely an entertainer all along, easing the parents' initial fears, which were shown to be grounded in nothing more than prejudice. And yes, if you look closely, that dad over there, that's Mos Def. The film wraps up with a light-hearted moment as everyone enjoys spooking one another, leading into a 6-minute-long credit sequence showcasing Jackson in the makeup chair, preparing for his various roles. Ghosts was such a significant project that was even screened at the prestigious Cannes Film Festival. At 40 minutes long, it held the Guinness World Record for the longest music video until 2013, when Pharrell Williams' 24-hour video for Happy claimed the title. Despite its immense scope, even surpassing Thriller in many ways, Ghosts remains an underrated gem that most people have either forgotten or are unaware of. Yet, it's a deeply personal work, filled with layers of meaning that reflect Jackson's complex relationship with fame and public perception. Ghosts may not have reached the same legendary status as Thriller, but its bold storytelling, incredible choreography, and personal messages make it one of Michael Jackson's most fascinating works. Though it remains underrated, it stands as a powerful testament to Michael's artistry and his constant push for creativity. Thank you for watching the crazy story behind Michael Jackson's forgotten Thriller sequel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories behind the music. We'll see you in the next video.